Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. It's that time of the week where it's time to go over my NFL predictions for this week. There's actually a lot of projected blowouts this week, so we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. Let's start off with tonight's Thursday night football game between the Vikings and the Rams. Vikings are 3-point favorites. Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell goes against his former master Rams coach Sean McVay. Will the student become the teacher is the question. It's possible. I know the Rams defense played well last week, but I don't feel they'll be able to slow down the Vikings offense. So then it comes down to whether the Rams can win in a shootout. Maybe, but the Vikings defense I feel will blitz too much and it'll be too much to handle for quarterback Matthew Stafford and his offensive line. I know the Vikings coming in on a short week can be tricky, but like last Thursday night football game, I won't overthink it and just go with the better teams. I have Minnesota winning 34-23. Next, you got the Jets, are 7-point favorites versus the Patriots. I know the Jets are not looking good right now, but the one thing the Jets have done this season so far is beat the very bad teams like in New England, for example. I feel star receiver Devontae Adams will be a bigger factor in this game, and the Jets defense, specifically their banged up secondary, won't be exposed like they did last week because the Patriots don't have the weapons to expose them. I'm not sure if the Jets cover the 7-point spread, but I do feel like I'll take them to win. I have them winning 26-17. Next, you got the Eagles versus the Bengals, your 2.5-point favorites. Who's ready for a shootout? I expect both offenses to produce. The question remains which defense will make that clutch play late to win the game. Both teams are coming in on winning streaks, but both squads have been playing bad teams in the process. I know the Bengals are really trying to play better at home since they have yet to win a home game this year. So therefore, I'll take the Bengals to break that streak and firmly get themselves back in the playoff race. I have them winning 34-31. Next, you got the Packers, who are 3.5-point favorites versus the Jaguars. I'm actually surprised that this is only a 3.5-point spread. I feel like this is a slam dunk. The Jaguars' defense has been bad most of the season, and against a really good Packers offense, I'd be surprised if this game's close. I have Green Bay winning 38-20. Next, you got the Titans versus the Lions, your 11-point favorites. Which, by the way, again, in the NFL, if you're a double-digit spread, like that's big. That's like being a 30-point favorite in college. But this is my favorite blowout of the week. The Titans won't be able to stop the Lions offense, and in this rare game, the Lions defense can actually look really dominant. The only question is will this game be over by halftime? I have Detroit winning 45-12. Next, you got the Falcons versus the Buccaneers. I was looking forward to this matchup because I thought we could see a similar result to when these two teams faced off in Atlanta a few weeks ago. However, with star receivers Mike Evans and Chris Godwin now out, no matter how much receiver depth Tampa claims they have, the offense just can't replace both of those receivers. Also, since the Falcons got embarrassed last week by Seattle, I feel they'll be more sharp this game, and they get the win to basically, have the division be theirs to lose. I have Atlanta winning 30-20. Next, you get the Cardinals versus the Dolphins, are 3.5-point favorites. With Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa back, it makes sense this game could be hard to predict. First off, will he stay healthy throughout the game? Because that's a big if. Now, if he stays healthy throughout the game, then the question is, okay, is he going to be rusty, for taking the last month and a half off? Or is he going to come in sharp and dialed in and make it look like he hasn't skipped a beat? To me, Tua's got to show that he's not going to have any rust and will come in, ready to be dialed in before I can see that going forward. So therefore, I'm going to take Arizona to get the upset here. My upset of the week, I have Arizona winning 23-20. Next, you get the Ravens versus the Browns. I'm not saying the Ravens will lose this game, but with quarterback Jameis Winston replacing Deshaun Watson now for the Browns, maybe the Browns offense has that breath of fresh air and can compete in a shootout with Baltimore. The odds are that Cleveland can't compete in a shootout, but I wouldn't be surprised if that end up happening. I have Baltimore winning 38-22. Next, you get the Colts versus the Texans. I know the Texans lost a close game to Green Bay last week on the road, so there's no shame in that. However, they did have an awful passing offense for Houston, and I feel that will be their focus in improving that this week against the Colts pass defense, who's very inconsistent. So therefore, I'll take the Texans to get back in the win column and essentially lock up the division race. I have Houston winning 27-17. Next, we got the Saints versus the Chargers, who are 7-point favorites. This is a great game for the Chargers to bounce back after having that dud on Monday Night Football. With the Saints and defense not playing well, they won't be forced to pass the ball a lot, and therefore they can run the ball a lot like they want to. And then to add the fact that the Saints offense still has a bad quarterback running the show, I leave the Chargers to bounce back and get the win 24-13. Next, you got the Bills, or 2-point favorites, versus the Seahawks. This is one of the hardest games for me to predict this week. The Bills are on a roll right now. The Seahawks had a good win last week, but they have not been consistent all year, whether they're at home or on the road. And then DK Metcalf might not play this game, which is a big deal. I have a feeling that the Bills may win this game, but I think the Seahawks would just find that way to get the big win at home and keep themselves first in their division. I have the Seattle winning 28-27. Next, you get the Panthers versus the Broncos, who are 10-point favorites. Because of a car accident, Bryce Young is back to being the starting quarterback for the Panthers. Too bad no matter who starts for the Panthers, they have to go against a good Denver defense. And even if they can score some points, the Panthers' defense has shown an inability to slow down any offenses this year. So I'll take Denver to win the game. I have Denver winning the game 30-13. Next, you get the Chiefs, who are 10-point favorites, versus the Raiders. This rivalry game can get a little bit weird. Despite the Chiefs clearly being the better team last year, the Raiders punked Kansas City on Christmas morning last year, if y'all remember that. If there is any game that the Raiders will, quote, get up for, this would be the game. I think the Raiders will play hard, but they won't be able to pull off the upset this time. I have Kansas City winning 24-9. In the Sunday Night Football, you got the Cowboys versus the 49ers, or 4-point favorites. This game, because of the injuries for the 49ers, makes it hard to predict. The Cowboys under Mike McCarthy are usually good coming off the bye week, so I can see Dallas looking good in the first half specifically. But I feel the Cowboys' lack of a running game will bite them in this game since they can't bleed out the clock and keep the 49ers off the field. So the 49ers make a late comeback to win the game. I have the 49ers winning 24-23. And then last but not least, on Monday Night Football, you get the Giants at the Steelers, or 6.5-point favorites. Again, I hate when bad teams play on Sunday or Monday Night Football. And it seems like it's always the Giants, which is annoying. The Steelers just demolished one New York team a week ago, and now I feel like they'll demolish the other one. I have Pittsburgh winning 26-9. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel, turn about me. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.